Your Excellency, Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba, Your Excellency, President João Lourenço, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I thank the government and people of Japan for your hospitality and generosity, and all co-organizers for your commitment to Africa. For more than 3 decades, TICAD has embodied the spirit of multilateralism, grounded in mutual respect, shared responsibility, and a deep belief in Africa's potential. With the world's youngest population, abundant natural resources, and a vibrant entrepreneurial spirit, Africa is poised for progress. And this year's theme, Co-Create Innovative Solutions with Africa, reminds us that these same strengths can help shape a more peaceful, prosperous and sustainable world inside and beyond Africa's borders. Especially as we accelerate progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals through investment, reform and partnerships. We meet at a time of interconnected crises and deep inequalities. Tackling these crises requires a clear focus not only on development for Africa, but on development with Africa. And I salute Japan for making this the focus of its cooperation with the continent. Let me highlight 5 priorities for our shared journey forward. First, we must reform institutions of global governance, both political and financial, to reflect today's realities. Africa must have a stronger voice in shaping the decisions that affect its future. That includes long overdue reform of the Security Council, where incredibly Africa has no permanent member and other regions remain underrepresented. And it includes an overhaul of today's unjust and unfair international financial architecture that must enhance African representation and endorse a strong African voice in the decisions being made. Meanwhile, today 34 countries spend more on debt service than on health and education. The Seville commitment points to solutions by increasing the capacity of governments to mobilize domestic resources, including through tax reform, and by establishing a more effective framework for debt relief and tripling the lending capacity of multilateral development banks and their engagement in de-risking private investment in the African continent. Second, we must invest in sustainable chain and regional integration. Africa's path for prosperity must focus on adding value to its raw materials, creating decent jobs and building resilience, taking profit of the African continental free trade area. And we must also address Africa's energy paradox. Africa has enormous renewables potential, but receives just 2% of global investment into renewables, and 600 million Africans live without electricity. And Africa is also home to the critical minerals required to power renewable technologies. But the countries hosting them must be the ones to benefit first and most, while adding value to local and global value chains. Third, we must harness digital innovation, including artificial intelligence, for development. But the African people are still suffering from a wide digital divide. Japan's technological leadership can help close this divide and ensure that technology helps African countries catch up with adequate digital public infrastructure rather than being left behind. And this includes ensuring that all countries can harness the incredible potential of artificial intelligence to power progress for all, as defined in the Pact for the Future. We have just shared a report outlining innovative financing options to build AI capacity in developing countries. AI must stand for Africa included. Fourth, we need people-centered development. Young people are the builders of Africa's future. Let us invest in their skills, in education, particularly STEM, and ensure decent jobs, social protection, and a seat at the decision-making table. Let us invest in women's full participation across economies, societies, and political systems. Fifth, we must recognize that peace and prosperity go hand in hand. Sustainable development requires sustainable peace. By silencing the guns, as the African Union clearly points out, and by ending violence in all its forms and strengthening the social cohesion and stability that can attract investment and business to Africa. Excellencies, we have the roadmap, the 2030 Agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals, and the African Union's Agenda 2063. Let's co-create solutions that can build a future of dignity, opportunity, and peace for all, and I thank you.
Ok, muito obrigado. Tem agora a palavra a Sua Excelência Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, Presidente da Comissão da União Africana.